Hal Lambert is the founder of Point Bridge Capital and the creator of the MAGA, Make America Great Again, ETF, which is a fund that trades essentially Trump-friendly stocks. And it has done quite well. It took a hit today, like everything else, but he's done quite well. Jonah Goldberg, National Review senior editor, joins us as well, Fox News contributor as well. Jonah, thanks so much. Great to see you tonight. And Hal, great to see you. So, Hal, you created this fund, which I would imagine did really well, as did the whole market, because you looked for companies that had Republican-leaning and Republican-thinking leadership in them, right?
Correct. Yes. I mean, I started this fund in September of last year. It's the top 150 companies in the S&P 500 that support Republicans, including President Trump. And it's done well since it launched. It's industrials, it's financials, it's oil and gas. So it's a broad spectrum across the financial space. All
right. So now your fund has taken a hit along with the rest of the market. So why, you mentioned to me earlier, you said you're not concerned. You think the market, you believe what President Trump said, that eventually the markets will ride this out and that they will improve?
Exactly. I think that, the market's focused on very short-term trading patterns. And, President Trump has started these trade negotiations off. It's very public. And he started it off with a stick. And China has responded. But the stick is not the final place that we're going to end up. We're going to end up in a place where we're both negotiating, and we're going to come out, I think, in a much stronger position long term. President Trump's a businessman. He's not a politician, and he's focused on putting America first. And China has been a predatory trade partner, and it's been unfair trade for many, many years. The previous administrations have started these negotiations off softly. It's always ended poorly, and this is going to be different.
It strikes me, Jonah, I've been thinking this for the past couple days, as reading and thinking about this whole story, that we have been in a trade war for a very long time. We just haven't been fighting it. We've been letting it happen. So why not step it up? And even Fareed Zakaria seems to be agreeing that nothing else has worked.
Yeah, well, I just think there are a couple of things that need to be pointed out. First of all, it's absolutely true that on the intellectual property theft, China has behaved really badly, and so have a lot of American businesses who basically agree to be mugged and have their IP taken from them, and then go whining about it to American politicians rather than refusing to be part of it. But if we had to get to tariffs to get some compliance from China, I would be open to all that. Where I see a major disconnect here is this idea that this is a thought-out, serious plan about negotiating. You had Larry Kudlow, who was an old friend of mine, surprised this morning he didn't know anything about these $100 billion more in tariffs. There is this, basically, I think what Donald Trump believes in is in protectionism. He was honest about that. He campaigned on that. The markets don't believe in it. Companies that sell our products overseas, like Boeing and our farmers and all of them, they don't believe in it, and we can't get a coherent message, including the Chinese, who have been saying for months they just want to know what the administration wants from them.
But when you look back at the early stages of this discussion, and I like looking way back, because he's been talking about this in New York for the past 30 years, first with Japan and then with China, just saying it's not fair, this isn't a level playing field, all of that. But when he first asked for a deal on these China trade tariffs, they said, maybe something in the $30 billion range. He said, no, I want much higher than that. So they gave him 50, and now he comes back and says, no, you know what, we need 100. This is classic Trump, and you're right, it probably isn't thought out to the nth degree, but it's classic Trump negotiating tactic that I would imagine is an effort to force them to say, all right, we're going to have to go to the table and talk this out, Hal. Does that make...
But China's been asking you to sit at the table for a very long time.
Sorry, guys, I threw you there. Go ahead, Hal, and then Jonah, thanks.
Yeah, Martha, I think that there's a little more to this. I think President Trump's been very clear. He believes in free trade, believes in fair trade. Everybody in the administration believes in free and fair trade. That's what we're trying to get to. It's not protectionism. It's free and fair trade. And here's the deal. China came out and put tariffs on our products, and it was about 38% of what we sell into China. What we'd put on the tariffs we'd put on was about 10% of what we buy from them. So they'd put on 4 times the amount of tariffs that President Trump had put on, and that's that's why President Trump came out today and said, well, we ought to look at doing $100 billion. So this isn't some sort of willy-nilly thing that's going on. This is thought out, and this is negotiations. It's public, and it's difficult for people to understand, but it's what's going on, and I think it's the appropriate thing that's going on, and he's looking out for American businesses. China has stolen billions and billions of dollars of intellectual property from our companies. They have massive tariffs already going into their country. They're not an open society. They're not an open trade partner, and we believe in free and fair trade, and that's what President Trump's trying to get to.
Well, President Xi is going to be around for a long time. Jonah, final thought.
Yeah, I just don't think he's actually looking out for American businesses. He's not looking out for American consumers. Tariffs are taxes. Even Larry Kudlow still says that. And this has been rolled out in a chaotic way. I'm in favor of playing tough with China, but we could have, from day one of the Trump administration, actually filed a multilateral complaint with the WTO. China is much more interested in being a good citizen with the WTO than the United States is, because they have so much more to lose.
All right, we got to leave it there.
There's 400 complaints with the WTO right now that China ignores. It takes 5 to 6 years to get through that process.
I agree, which is why maybe they should have started earlier with the complaints.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Jonah Goldberg, great to see you tonight. Hal Lambert, thank you. Thanks for joining us on this story. Very interesting, right?